The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
Welcome back to TVB News. We're just 2 days away from the New Year's Eve countdown. And this year, the police expect a turnout similar to last year, about 370,000 people on both sides of the harbour. Police also stress that they will watch out for protesters who attempt to break the law. Liz Yoon reports.
Last week, crowds gathered on the streets of Mongkok and Causeway Bay on Christmas Eve. Calling what they did was caroling, some groups sang popular songs in support of the pro-democracy movement. Police held up a warning banner demanding people to disperse. The police also expect large crowds for the New Year's Eve countdown. They said today that sufficient manpower will be deployed for crowd management duty.
We will be also able to handle all the contingency incidents effectively and efficiently. Taking this opportunity, I would like also to appeal for public support that please obey the police direction on the spot and don't do any act breaking the law, or otherwise police will take necessary action and resolute actions if necessary.
Hong added that officers will watch out for individuals who threaten road safety or those who pose a potential danger to other members of the public.
Actually, we will have the observation on the act and the behavior of those people attending the vantage point to watch the fireworks or the pyrotechnic show.
The police will also implement special traffic arrangements in several phrases throughout the day. It will cover Tsim Sha Tsui and Mongkok over at the Kowloon side and Causeway Bay, Wan Chai and Central on Hong Kong Island. Travelers are urged to take public transportation if they visit those areas. The police also appealed to motorists not to drive under the influence of alcohol or medication. When asked whether officers will take action if people gather and start chanting slogans for genuine universal suffrage, the police said it would depend on the actual situation on Wednesday. Liz Yun, TVB News.
Former Sun K Properties Joint Chairman Thomas Kwok has filed an appeal against his conviction in the corruption case involving former Chief Secretary for Administration Raphael Hui. Kwok's lawyer visited him in Stanley Prison today. The former joint chairman was earlier found guilty of conspiracy to commit misconduct in public office, along with 3 other defendants involved. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison and was slapped with a $500,000 fine.
Turning overseas again, the US-led coalition in Afghanistan has formally ended its combat mission in the country more than 13 years after the alliance ousted the Taliban following the September 11th terror attacks. The moment was marked with a quiet flag-lowering ceremony in Kabul that signaled the transition of the fighting from US-led coalition combat troops to the country's own security forces. About 13,000 foreign troops, mostly American, will remain in the country under a 2-year mission to help continue training Afghan forces. But they will play no more role in fighting the Taliban. South Korea, the United States and Japan have signed an intelligence-gathering pact to share information on North Korea's missile and nuclear programs. The South Korean Defense Ministry said the pact went into effect today. An official spokesman said South Korea will pass relevant information about the North to the US, as the 2 countries already have a legally binding agreement to share and safeguard intelligence. The US side will then pass on the information to Japan. It will work the other way around, as the US already has a similar arrangement with Japan. Meanwhile, the South Korea has proposed to resume stalled talks with the North. The South's unification minister said Seoul had sent a letter to Pyongyang seeking negotiations next month on issues including family reunions and possibly cooperation projects. It's unclear if the North would accept the invitation.
Soldiers who stand guard at royal landmarks in ceremonial uniform in London will be withdrawn from their highly visible positions to positions behind metal gates. The decision comes after security officials weighed the possibility of their vulnerability to attack by militants. Armed police are already protecting soldiers on ceremonial duty at tourist hotspots. British media suggests the move was a response to possible threats against soldiers in the UK following the murder of drummer Lee Rigby last year. A recent attack in Ottawa also saw a Canadian soldier killed while he was on ceremonial sentry duty. The soldiers do stints at royal residences throughout London and are a tourist attraction in their own right. All right, Tony, what's in sports today?
We've got some football, we've got some basketball and some hockey action as well to talk about. But let's start with football and draws all round for the top teams in the Premiership. Manchester City and Burnley ended 2-2. Meanwhile, Tottenham and Manchester United failed to score in their match, and leaders Chelsea couldn't find a second goal against Southampton. Here's Jameson Wong.
Sadio Mane gave Southampton the lead against Chelsea in the 7th